Welcome to what I hope will be a shorter video because this is a short little tag that was created by Marissa from Little Spider 9. If you haven't subscribed to Marissa as yet, go fix your life and do that because she is awesome. So the tag is called the Books I'll Probably Never Read tag, and it's quite self-explanatory, so let's just dive into it. Jesus Christ. There are quite a few popular books that I really don't care to read, but I think that if I say things like Sarah J. Maas or Cassandra Clare, that's kind of a cop-out for me because I just don't really care for that genre in general. Instead, I will go with a book that is quite popular on the literary scene that a lot of people seem to dig, and that book is Boy Snake Bird by somebody, forgot her name. I remember the first time I heard about this book, I was quite interested in reading it, and I felt like it was something that could definitely be up my alley until I saw some reviews that pointed out the fact that the way in which the transgendered experience was represented in this book was kind of problematic. Now, a lot of people generally tend to say when they hear people say that, oh, you need to read the book for yourself and decide that for yourself and stop listening to other people. The funny thing is, if I said that, I heard reviews saying that this book was like, you know, it had bad writing or it had like really suckish world development, and I said that I don't want to read it for that reason, then a lot of people wouldn't really bat an eye. But for some reason, when you say you don't want to read a book because somebody finds it to be problematic, a lot of people seem to have an issue with that. I'm here to tell you that, you know what, it's not your life. You don't benefit from what I read. You don't lose out from what I don't read. If you have a problem with me not reading a book because somebody else says it's problematic, then girl. So a series that I am not quite keen on finishing is the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. No shade to lovers of the series or to the books themselves because I really enjoyed the first book when I read it back in 2015. However, I didn't enjoy it enough to care that much to move on with the rest of the books, although I was planning to do so. I actually went out of my way and bought the rest of them. But eventually I lost interest in it because there were so many other books that I cared to read, and it's just a series that I think I read after the time I was supposed to read it. But other than that, I just don't really care to read the series anymore. I will have to say all of them. I guess any kind of thing that is generally referred to as a classic counts, but I feel like when we talk about classics, we're not talking about like the modern kind of classics or like, you know, classics by people of color. I personally feel there's this like connotation of like old dusty books from like 1800s Europe and America, and I just don't really care to read that. I feel like there are so many books that are being published now that have so much more depth and relevance to them, and as somebody who's quite a slow reader, I really feel like I want to devote my time to things that are being published now and to support authors who are in need of that support now. A popular genre that I don't care to read that has really become quite popular on BookTube, especially within the last few years, is graphic novels and comics. For me, they always feel like they're lacking something. They always feel incomplete. I think that's just because I'm so accustomed reading full-length novels that when I go into those shorter lived books, they don't really reach there for me, if that makes sense. And in general, I feel like graphic novels they're quite expensive for something that I could sit down and read in a half an hour, so I just don't really like to spend my money on them, and there are not really a lot of them available at the library. I have done a purging of my books the other day, and I kind of more or less got rid of the books that were on my shelves that I knew that I wasn't going to read. However, there are a few books that I did kind of put in a pile that I have up in my cupboard that are books that I'm considering getting rid of. One of those books is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. This book has blown up on BookTube back in the day. It's first in a trilogy. It's quite popular. It's dystopian meets space opera. That's kind of why I don't want to read it anymore. I'm not that much into dystopian anymore, and while I really want to read some more space opera, I've heard that this book is really more dystopian and the space opera elements are not quite strong. So maybe I might give this a try. Maybe y'all might want to convince me down in the comments down below to give it a try. But for now, I just don't really care to read it. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If I offended any of you, I'm not sorry. In the comments down below, feel free to tell me some books that you don't particularly care to read. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And until next time, inshallah, keep reading.